A very good afternoon to you and welcome to Viva Africa 2019. I'm Mukami Wambora and I am loving the 32nd edition of the African Cup of Nations. So many goals, so many surprises, and it's just the first round gone. Interesting fact, in the 2017 edition, 12 goals were scored in the first round. And can you imagine how many goals have been scored, Nimrod?
So far. I haven't kept the count.
27
all I know, and that's including 6
in the first round.
yesterday.
Yes, there are more teams in this edition, but also there are so many goals, so much action. And, I want to say, hii AFCON ni moto kama pasi.
Ni moto, lakini paka saizi ya Harambee Stars haijafunga bado, imagine. Sijui kama training wamefunga. Hata hivyo mtazamaji, tunasema asante sana kwa kujumuika nasi mara nyingine. Kama unavyoona jukwaa limejaa wageni mbalimbali. Mzangu Mukami atakujulisha kwa mgeni wake rasmi, na pia ni wataje tu baadhi ya wageni ambao wamewasili. Tutakuwa nazungumza nao kwa lugha ya Kimombo, maana ni wageni kutoka nchi jirani, nchi za bara Afrika. Kunao wale wametokea DRC Congo, vile vile Zimbabwe. Tutakuwa tunazungumza na wengine pia kutoka Uganda na kadhalika. Yote hayo ni katika Viva Africa. Na unakumbuka jana ulipatia mtu hela.
Yep, Newton from Embakasi. Yeah, he got 10 out of the 12 questions correct, and he has actually won himself 55,000 studio. Newton is in studio right now, so at some point he will be coming to collect all his money. It's there. It's there. It's
and
there.
I understand he has to count.
And he will count until we reach 55.
One note after the other until 55. Hakuna jokes hapa. Pesa ni kushinda. And then after that, are we still going on with the competition?
Yes, that means we reset. So up for grabs today. 5,000 Kenya shillings. 5,000 Kenya shillings. And as usual, I like to give hints. I don't make it so difficult. I like to give hints. Let's just say I like to give hints. Today, all the questions are about Group F. The 2 teams, the 4 teams that played yesterday.
Hey,
that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Google is a friend.
That's all I am saying. And of course, one of our guests here is Moses. He's a sports journalist from Uganda. But before we get to talk about everything that happened yesterday, and of course your game against Zimbabwe, well, that draw, Benin versus Ghana 2-2. Then remember, Angola and Tunisia drew 1-1. And of course, Uganda beat DR Congo 2-0. So the question of the day is, which underdog teams have put on the best and the worst performances? Use the hashtag Viva Africa 2019. You can find us at Citizen TV Kenya, at Mukami Wambora, and at Nimrod Tabu. Let us know what you think. I think now it's time for us to catch up with Bernard Ndong, who is in Cairo, Egypt. Bernard, how are you?
Well, Mukami, thank you very much. I'm positioned at the media center right here at the 30 June Stadium. You can see a lot of activity in the background there, just journalists filing their respective stories for this year's tournament. This is a facility that has been hosting several group games, most keenly the games that have Kenya, Tanzania, Senegal, and of course Algeria are the team members, or teams rather, that are positioned in Group C. So today, earlier on, about an hour ago, there was of course a press conference that was held right here in this particular facility, where Harambee Stars technical bench gave out an update regarding to the kind of lineup that the team will be having in this year's tournament. And I can tell you for a fact it was very fascinating, because the coach went back to talk about the first game they had against Algeria. He talked about the issues of the defensive setup. He talked about the way the players felt almost somewhat starstruck, or to some extent, rather they were a bit not settled. They were not settled into the game, and that's why in the first half they were really dominated by the Algerians. But they managed to find their rhythm to some extent in the second half. So the head coach said that that particular game was a learning lesson, and they'll use those lessons that they learned in that opening game against Algeria, heading into their next game against Tanzania, which is tomorrow. Now that press conference happened a few meters from where I'm standing right now. It was attended by the head coach Sebastian Minye and forward Michael Olunga, as they shared their sentiments. A lot of interest also was in terms of how the Kenya's personnel is, because there have been an issue in terms of injuries. There have been apparently a lot of injuries in the Kenya team camp, but he did not confirm or dispute whether one of the players, specifically Musa Mohammed, who has been rumored to be injured, to some extent he clarified and said that he could be fit for tomorrow's game, but did not want to divulge the full extent of whether or not he's at 100% heading into tomorrow's game. So we'll be able to just find out once he names the final list tomorrow, the eve of, or rather a few hours before kickoff, whether or not Musa Mohammed will be actually fit to play in that particular game. But also in the back, we'll be keen to see the status of Philemon Otieno, whether or not he'll be at full 100% match fit as they face against the Tanzania. A must-win match to ensure that their trajectory in this year's tournament continues on an upward trend as opposed to a downward trend, given the start that they had against Algeria. Mukami.
Now, Bernard, has Sebastien Minier hinted as to whether he will change the starting lineup? Because on social media, there was a lot of backlash in terms of the team that he selected to start and how they played defensively in that game.
Well, Mukami, later on this afternoon, we'll be having other games continuing. Of course, the second round of matches will be taking place. Egypt had a winning start in their particular opening fixture against Zimbabwe. Of course, Uganda as well will be in action. They'll be facing off against Zimbabwe. They had a winning start as well as they hammered the Democratic Republic of Congo in their opening game. And also Nigeria will be in action. So the second round of matches will be kicking off today. And we'll be able to get a sense of the teams that will have already qualified into the knockout stage. Because remember how the formation, or rather the process is that the top two teams automatically qualify, and then they look for the three best losers in the respective groups. So we'll be able to get a sense of which teams have already qualified for the next round of matches coming.
Thank you so much for that update, Banandong. Tomorrow, Tanzanians and Kenyans will be in studio, fighting it out in studio, and as well, of course, on the pitch. Thank you for that update. Nimrod, you've heard Sebastien Minier sticking to his guns.
I know, right? Should Kenyans be hopeful?
We'll speak to them tomorrow.
It doesn't show in your face. It doesn't show in your face. But hey, listen, Tanzanians, they're not joking, especially, I think you've seen that video going around, by the President Magufuli, really criticizing the team. So I think this time around, I think they're going to show their game properly to Kenya. I really hope that we're going to be up to it, but going by what Minya said, according to Banandong, we're not so sure. But hey, listen, I used to be a goalkeeper back in the day before I became a striker and then a midfielder and then again a striker. So
these are all tales.
So I'm thinking this should have been the ideal goalpost for real, man. Anyway, mtazamaji, kama tulivyoahidi, leo tunachanganya lugha. I've got 5 gentlemen here. Football fans, of course, from DRC Congo, from Zimbabwe, and also one who's a Kenyan but he's lived in Uganda for so long. And welcome to this program, and thank you so much for making time to be with us. Let me start with you from the DRC. Obviously today, a big game as well. First game wasn't good enough. You weren't so sure. Lost 2-0 to Uganda. What do you think is in store as they, play this second match later on tonight?
Thank you. I'm Agaton Angembe. I'm the student leader and also youth leader for Congolese diaspora in Kenya. Indeed, Congo did not play to the expectation of Congo, of the real Congo, which is perceived by all people in the world. The game, it was solo, but we believe this time around, having fixed so many internal complications, I believe that the team will deliver, and also by the fact that the players themselves, they apologize to the president of the republic, and also they apologize to the entire Congolese people, and of course to the fans around the globe. We believe this time around that Congo are so certain, and we are hopeful to crush Egypt, because it's not for the first time. We've crushed Egypt before. Okay. Thank you.
But basically, as far as football is concerned, in the pitch, what do you think was wrong? What do you think was lacking the game against Uganda? What do you think was wrong, and what do you think the coach needs to do to tweak that team and eventually get the result that you need?
I think the coach needs to reform the team. In other words, he needs to bring some new players, players that were on the bench. Talk of player like Trezon Putu. Trezon Putu is a attacking midfielder. So we can see from the previous match between Congo and Uganda, the midfield was a little bit dead. So if he can bring in a player like that, a qualified player like that, there'll be a change in the midfield.
All right.
Danny, will that be risky? Like just asking, putting an attacking
player? Yeah. Yeah, but let me get an answer from your colleague also from DRC. The way he's suggesting, do you think that will work? Wouldn't that be risky, as Mukami is asking?
Yes, I think that would work because that's what went wrong last time. We played a game and we didn't want to attack. Why? That was a problem. We came and we sat back. Yes, of course, Uganda would come because they believe and they know, and everybody knows Uganda is okay football-wise. Even when you see the rankings,
would you say Uganda are better than
no.
DRC?
They're not. They know we are better than them. So obviously,
but
when
the results say something else, right?
That's what I'm saying. So obviously, when they come, they will come with full force.
Okay.
And I think the only mistake that we need to work on.
And how important is the match today, given that you haven't,
like
you lost
when in English when you say crucial, that's how important the match is today.
It is for your qualification to the next round.
We have to win.
Okay.
Yeah, and for that to happen, there has to be a few changes.
All right.
As he was suggesting, like in the midfield, we need to bring in a more attacking midfielder and a very good supplier.
Okay.
Because if you see in the previous match, let me say they are attacking like Bakambu. He touched the ball twice. Why? Because the midfield was not supplying.
Not there.
So that's the problem. I think we need to bring in a more attacking.
Okay.
Now, yesterday we had an opportunity to host the Egyptian ambassador. And he said Egypt were, the first game they were taking it slow, but they said the second game they will go all out attack. So are you guys going to risk? It feels like it might end up being a high-scoring game because also Egypt don't like being second.
They wouldn't want to lose any game at home, I suppose.
I think I have an answer to that. The more they attack, the more they concede. Yes, because we won't.
It's that simple, eh?
Yes, it's simple.
Easier.
The more they attack, the more they concede.
Easier said than done, right?
And because he was right when he said they will come full force, but then them depending on only one player will also be another liability, which we'll use against them. And I hope the coach is listening to me right now. I wish he would be listening to me so that he makes those changes.
He just said something, and I wonder if you could ask the same to your guests. He said that they were more prepared than Uganda, or they think they're more superior than Uganda, but the results obviously have given us a different perspective about that initial game or the first game. I don't know what you have to say.
He has a point when he says they're a better team than Uganda, in the sense that if you look at the past history of the two countries, Congo has achieved much more than Uganda at that level. They have 2 continental titles. Uganda has only made it as far as final way back in 1978. But that's where it stops. It stops right at the line. When you get onto the pitch, it's reality. It's what are you going to do? And in that sense, I don't think Congo should have been apologizing to their fans. They should have been apologizing to Ugandans. Because I believe the Congolese took this game for granted.
Oh, yeah.
They thought Uganda is not at our level, we'll just walk through. That was a big mistake. Uganda has had tremendous form over the last 2 years, and they made it count. There's a certain ruthlessness about Uganda right now, and that showed on that day. We took all our chances as they came. We were first on almost every 50-50 ball against Congo, and we played them off the park. They were very poor on that day. They were very, very poor.
Now, if you beat Zimbabwe, essentially you're through.
Yes.
Essentially you're through. Knowing that, how do you think Sebastian Desabre will approach the game today?
In terms of how he deploys his troops, I think he's not going to change the lineup at all. I was watching training 2 days ago, and a central defender, he's called Mushijuko, was seated out on the bench. It looks like they want to spare him because he's on a yellow card. So that's the only area where I feel there will be a change. But by and large, everyone who played, I expect everyone who played against DRC Congo to play against Zimbabwe. I don't think it's a done deal. I don't think it's all wrapped up and we're ready to go to the next stage. We still have to get a result in today's game. And if we play like we did against DRC Congo, we should be able to win that game. Yeah. And
you've mentioned how DR Congo took you guys for granted. There are some rumors going around, reports that Sebastian Desabre has said something similar about Zimbabwe, saying that they were the weakest side. So I'll let you speak a bit about that, and then we'll also throw the mic to Terence for him to answer, react to that.
About Desabri saying Zimbabwe was the weakest country in the group, I hope he wasn't misquoted. I hope to God he wasn't, because I don't see Zimbabwe as a weak team. It's easy to look at the FIFA rankings and say, okay, Uganda is ranked 80th, Zimbabwe is 109, therefore they are weaker than Uganda. I don't think it's as straightforward as that. I think they are a cohesive team. It's like an old boys association of, there's this youth academy in Zimbabwe called the S Youth Soccer Academy. That's where they all come from. And they play together as a unit. And we had a friendly with them. That's the last time we played with them in 2016, and we lost 2-0. We were playing against 18-year-olds. And all these people have grown up now, and they're coming into the main senior national team. I think they're a solid team. I think they did well against Egypt. Egypt scraped through. Now they are in a tight situation because they are desperate, if I may use the word. They have to win today's game. That might expose them a little bit. But if anyone on the Ugandan side thinks they'll walk into tonight's game and take it up as it comes, we'll end up like DRC. We'll end up apologizing to our fans. Yeah, that's what I think, yeah.
Terence.
All right. Terence, I suppose you have some response. Well, first and foremost, Ugandans have a lot of respect for the Zimbabweans, as we've had. They're not taking you guys for granted, and they're not coming in as underdogs, they're not coming in as top dogs. But obviously, this is going to be a chance for Zimbabwe to prove that they can still, get a good result. How important do you think that result will be, and how do you think the match will pan out tonight?
Afternoon, viewers. Actually, for starters, I'd like to point out the statement that was made by the Ugandan coach. I think he's trying to play mind games here by saying the Zimbabwe are the weakest side in the group. So he's trying to play on the minds of the Zimbabwean players. But actually, I think he knows that in reality, Zimbabwe are not the weakest side. According to the way they played against Egypt.
Had a really good game against Egypt.
That was a good, good show, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think they lagged in terms of, they lagged in the cutting edge. They didn't have the confidence in the final third. However, they played well. And I think up against Uganda today, they know that this is a do or die, and they will throw everything they have, and they will prove the Ugandan coach wrong, sorry. They'll prove him wrong, and they'll get the maximum points.
Who do you think in the first game was the weakest link for the Zimbabwean team? And what does the coach need to do now differently? What does he need to tweak to ensure that, the Ugandans don't take advantage of you?
I believe the coach is sticking with the same squad. I think there might just be one change. The goalkeeper has been a doubt since he got injured in the Egypt game. So that might be the only change for today. But I believe that he's sticking to his guns that played against Egypt, and he's showing faith in the squad because they've been consistent even throughout the COSAFA in South Africa. So I don't see too many changes coming except for the injured-inspired change for the goalkeeper. And I think the squad has confidence. They've got the good players. They've got the chemistry going on in the squad. They're not a one-man team like some of the teams are. They play together. They are a unit. And I think they will show it today on the pitch.
I'd like you to just predict the result tonight.
Putting him on the spot.
Be honest and predict the result.
Putting me on the spot. All right. I will go with 2-1 Zimbabwe.
2-1 Zimbabwe. Yeah. I don't know whether Ugandans have a response to that.
Yes, I do. I think it's going to be 1-1.
It's going to be 1-1,
yeah.
Huh? You're being fair, you're being modest, eh?
I don't know.
Mind games again, eh?
This is what I think.
Mukami, over to you.
Yeah. Now, remember we were asking the viewers at home who they think the underdogs are, who's put on the best performance and who's put on the worst performance in terms of the underdogs. Let's just take a look at your feedback. We have Dennis_Sampaya who says Uganda have put the best performance. So many people had written them off, but I believe they will beat Zimbabwe and book a place at the quarters. Worst has to be Kenya, who had no single shot on target. Then we have at Danilo Mwangi who says, Burundi and Madagascar have really impressed me. Kenya disappointed me with the way they played against Algeria. Madagascar, being debutants, were able to share spoils with Guinea. Burundi were able to push Super Eagles, though they conceded in the dying minutes. Then we have Orayo Osoro who says, of all, Burundi showed they are ready to compete in big platforms. How wengine tuzidi kusindikiza wengine kama participants. Then we have Hari Nyakwa Arube who says, Zimbabwe played well despite being beaten, but they played well. Kenya had the worst performance. First half, they played as if they were being forced to do so. Then we have Justice Yanuzai who says, Kenya seems worst and Benin at least will give us some good results. And then finally, we have Labon Jackson who says, Benin were underdogs and they performed perfectly. And Harambe, I think he's left that as a question mark. But just to let you know, the African Cup of Nations tournament continues today. And of course, DSTV has you covered. You can get all those games in the DSTV Premium Bouquet, the DSTV Family, DSTV Compact, DSTV Compact Plus on Super Sport 7, and of course you can also get a few games on DSTV Access on Super Sport 10. We want to take a quick break. When we get back, it's time for the DSTV Challenge. We'll see some people pepetering balls here. So let's take a quick break. We'll be back in just a bit.